Okay, so what is the Lewis structure for disulfur dichloride? S2Cl2. So when writing the Lewis structure, we first need to find out the total number of valence electrons. In the case of the sulfur, sulfur has 6 valence electrons, and there are 2 sulfur atoms, so we multiply that by 2. And for chlorine, chlorine has 7 valence electrons, and we multiply that by 2 as well. And if we add it up, we get a total of 26 valence electrons. So sulfur is more or is least electronegative than the chlorine. So I'm just going to write the 2 as our central atoms, each having a single bond to the chlorine. So now let's fill in all of the lone pairs on our terminal chlorine atoms. And let's count out how many I've drawn so far. So each bond contains 2 electrons, and we have 3 bonds, so that's 6, plus another 6 in the form of lone pairs on one chlorine, making it 12, plus another 6 from the second chlorine, so that's 18. So I need to write out 8 more electrons, and I'm just going to draw them in the form of lone pairs on my sulfur. Okay, so now we have our total of 26 valence electrons. And let's calculate the formal charge of our ions, of our atoms, sorry. So the equation for formal charge, this is equal to the number of valence electrons minus the number of non-bonding electrons minus the number of bonding electrons divided by 2. So let's do one of the chlorine atoms first. Chlorine contains 7 valence electrons. And if we count out all the non-bonding electrons on chlorine, then we count out 6. And there's a single bond to the chlorine, so there are 2 bonding electrons divided by 2. So all the chlorine atoms have a 0 formal charge. And then let's double check and do the same thing for sulfur. Sulfur has 6 valence electrons. The number of non-bonding electrons for both of them is only 4. And each of them has 2 bonds attached to it. So this is a total of 4 bonding electrons divided by 2. So 6 minus 4 minus 2 is also 0. So this gives us a neutral compound, which is expected. And the junior tutor said the same thing. So this solution is correct.